Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us at the OIC InsurTech Fair today. I'd like to thank OIC for inviting me to share some of my knowledge and experience. I'm Varun Mittal, Global Emerging Markets FinTech Leader for EY. Can I have my slides, please? I work with InsurTech startups and FinTech startups all over the world to help them build scalable long-term businesses. I've been working with the FinTech Association in Singapore and working with the regulators to come up with new business models which are relevant for the industry. Today, our session will have broadly three parts. The first part is around ASEAN insurance landscape and opportunities. The second part is around insurance and insurtech ecosystems with some case studies. And the last part is around regulations and how regulators like OIC and MAS are working closely and supporting the industry. If we talk about ASEAN, it's a very interesting markets globally. More than 600 million people with very high smartphone penetration, very high digital penetration. But the moment we look at the penetration of insurance or other financial services, it's very low from that perspective. And that creates a huge opportunity for all of the financial services industry to create solutions for them. If we look at how digital services ecosystem has grown in Southeast Asia, e-commerce, ride hailing, online travel, some of the biggest companies, 100 billion, 10 billion, $20 billion companies have been built over the last 5 to 8 years in Southeast Asia. So broadly, every customer, so distribution, which was a huge problem traditionally for insurance, has been addressed to a certain extent because more than 60 to 70% customers have a phone, which is more powerful than any branch of a bank or an agent's office from that perspective. The proliferation of digital channels where any customer who wants to access a financial service has an ability is a game changer. These things have also created new products and proposition ideas. So for example, can customers and insurers use new technologies like machine learning, optical character recognition, to create simpler solutions, to create more cost-effective solutions, to create lifestyle products, micro-insurance products. Today, it was just raining in Singapore to have an insurance that your taxi ride does not become expensive when it rains. So creation of embedded lifestyle insurance products is something which has been possible by access created by smartphones and internet to the last mile in almost every market. And the size of the pie is growing so fast that it is only a time before financial services can catch up. And financial services are now working with a lot of entrepreneurs, startups, regulators, and incumbents to achieve this and develop this access for every individual. If we look at the kind of innovation trends, Vietnam, for example, has seen a lot of wallets working with insurance companies. Even if you look at Indonesia, Malaysia has even seen insurers investing capital in the e-wallets to be able to do collaboration around distribution. Similarly, in Thailand and other markets, Thailand even has a digital insurer from that perspective, where traditional insurers have either launched health tech solutions or invested capital and distribution capabilities in platforms, because insurance carriers have identified that from an older perspective, in addition to a bank assurance and an agency partnership, if the customers are available with the digital platforms, then it's worth going to those platforms to get access to the same distribution. And these are anyways digitally native, digital first customers. So it is much more easier to access these customers and to offer them such self-service products. The other part has been around how ecosystems have been built by insurance carriers all over these markets by creating health tech solutions like Alco Doctor, Doctor Anywhere, where preventive healthcare becomes very important, wherein customers can access the healthcare from the comfort of their house, can get even medicine delivered to their houses. Then that reduces the overall burden on the healthcare system and reduces the cost of overall healthcare for insurer as well as the customer. So by bringing different parts of the ecosystem together, insurers have achieved significant customer benefits and overall as value creation. We also see a huge number of new platforms being created, like full stack agency platforms in Indonesia. In Singapore, full new life insurer, which was probably one of the first licenses in the last 40, 50 years in Singapore to be awarded, to then expand to other markets. So just like digital banks were happening, now Southeast Asia sees a trend for digital insurers, which have been built from scratch for the new generation, which are designed for the digital mobile first generation. And those are some of the key innovation trends we see in the market. We also see, as we mentioned, distribution partnerships. The part of how anybody who has a customer base and some level of digital access, insurance partners can embed insurance. And just like payments has become enabled now, embedded now, you get off from a taxi, don't even worrying about paying for it because there is a payment instrument, a wallet, a card on file. You go to an app from which you order food and you just click a few buttons and it's done. And the payment became invisible. So similarly, the risk protection, risk management also is becoming embedded from that perspective, where insurance players are working with such carriers, such platform players to embed simple, easy to consume insurance to share the risk and reduce the anxiety from a customer's mindset. If we look at digital bank licenses, how they are a precursor. Hong Kong also went through a similar cycle where they had digital bank licenses first and digital insurance license later. In Southeast Asia, Singapore and Thailand are the two first markets to have actually given digital insurers in play. And soon, a lot of these digital bank supporting markets will see a lot more digital insurers come in. Not just traditional insurers becoming digital, but also full new digital insurers being born to support such players. If we look at one of the examples is of how such technologies and ecosystems are playing is an example of a company called Tractable, where they allow digital claims processing by ability to take a picture of the thing. There is satellite data feed which helps check in real time if any vehicle or person on the coverage is having a damage, so that you don't need to wait for somebody to call. You can figure out that something is not right and you can go there to support the person. And by bringing, I would say, commercial technologies, image recognition was not, the advanced video and audio image recognition was not created for insurance industry. It was created for a lot of other use cases. But by bringing commercial grade technology to insurance, creates that power and speed and agility to insurance industry, which on its own it would not have. By leveraging off the shelf components, it is able to run faster than ever before. A lot of other capabilities which are at play in the insurance ecosystems are detecting alerts through dash cams, through Internet of Things, through self-driving cars are using a technology called LiDAR, how to use those technologies to have predictive analysis and how to ensure that you can alert the driver, for example, to avoid an accident, for example. The other part is regarding first notice of loss, how you can look at tracking unnoticeable data, tracking different cues through different technologies to, again, predictively intervene and not only acting after. The traditional insurance was acting only after everything happened and to do evaluation. And the view is that if you can actually prevent that loss, then you can actually create a way more value for everybody. The other part is also around engagement and investigation. Now, so many insurance companies are looking at drones and using that for both underwriting as well as claim review when it comes to fires, floods, theft, damage through explosion, those kind of things. And that significantly reduces the cost of servicing and speed of servicing, opening new forefronts for the companies. Policy review through natural language processing, image recognition, now you can take, and the databases are becoming so powerful that is reducing the manual effort from that perspective. And the more we use these systems, the faster and more efficient they become. And the last ones are around how do you evaluate and adjust, and the broader theme being how do you digitize the back office and operations, where insurance, as we say, making insurance great again by bringing the best-in-class technology from all other industries to use in something which creates long-term value for any society by sharing the risk. Other examples of digitization has been third-party platforms which work with insurers to create a direct-to-consumer proposition, or also from a perspective of assurance, for example, was a company whose core technology was to help agents get the best leads. And the biggest challenge for an insurance company is assigning the best leads to the right agents. And that company built the whole business based on that and ultimately sold to Prudential for over $2 billion. There are other examples from China and India for full D2C insurer, direct-to-consumer insurers. So Zhong'an, for example, built its use case on e-commerce by allowing protection for buyers and sellers for e-commerce, while ACCO built it on auto. So the Grab equivalent of the market launched a 1 rupee insurance. It's like 2 cents, 1.5 cent insurance for any accident happening during the ride. And they sold like tens of millions of policies. So those kind of full stack new players reimagining the whole forefront of insurance, that is something which creates values par excellence in this industry. Oscar is another example of how health insurance has been innovated by creating a panel of its own doctors, by ensuring that if a customer feels any kind of discomfort, and even regularly, the health records can be done, the lab tests can be done, and it becomes the single point of care. So it's just not an insurance partner, it's a full healthcare solution to support a customer, support a user, where the objective is to ensure that the customer stays in best health, not just pay the cost of treatment, but to ensure the health always remains good. And if the health remains good, there is no need for claim. And if there is one, then it's faster than average because most of that process is digitized. And you feel like that you have a personal concierge with you, for you, in this journey of health. So that's an example of innovative healthcare insurers with full license built from scratch. Now we talk about insurance and insurtech ecosystems broadly from that perspective. Broadly in this ecosystem, there are 4 main players. One, of course, is insurance companies. The second is distribution partners. The third, which is not often given as much credit, is the technology and operations partner, because insurance is a complex business. The technology is also very complex. So how do you work with the right partners, system integrators, platform providers to bring out the next generation technology to deal with your distribution partners to create next generation products? Because now the products which are needed are the traditional. There is a value to the traditional term life and ILP product, but now customers are looking, why can't I have a micro insurance? Why can't I have a micro savings embedded in it? Why can't I decide that I want to invest in only ESG funds from my ILP? So when customers' aspirations increase, when customers are addicted to having 1,000 menus of food on their phone, they don't want maybe 1,000, but maybe need 10, 15 possible options and permutations for how their money is going to be managed in an ILP. So that kind of, I would say, balance between the key players in the insurance ecosystem is what makes it interesting as well as challenging. We've seen several ecosystem models. One is around customer segment-based distribution. Then is a one-stop marketplace where you try to be one place for everything, and even if you cannot manufacture it, you get other people to do it. And there are some insurtech-driven models. And the last one, which is very interesting, is insurance as a service, just the way we had banking as a service, wherein the insurer focuses on risk management and risk distribution, while everything else is done by the channel and distribution partners. And several e-commerce companies have started to embrace it by working with carriers who are willing to let the ecosystem and distribution partners control the journey of the play. If we look at the customer segment-based distribution, they look at how you can be part of the content. Can you create a women-based insurance by partnering with women communities, where there is blogs, where there are offers. You can create specific lifestyle options. And because see, nobody wakes up saying, let me buy an insurance today. But the part is, if you are being part of the daily life journey and you're embedded there to help the daily activities become better. The current generation's problem is information overload, information asymmetry, and anxiety. And if you can be part of this, when you are targeting a customer segment-based partner for distribution, then you can target this asymmetry, overload, and anxiety for a customer to feel that you are part of the journey with them. Other companies are more like one-stop shop marketplace, where they partner with some carriers and they become a one-stop solution, and they take over the full process from paying of premium to management of claims. So yes, you have some carriers behind which you're visible, and you could in theory go to them as well. But to simplify the journey for the customer, that everything starts and ends in the same thing from end to end, and it gives an option of marketplace to pick from different carriers. That is something which is very unique to this model. It is different from the insurance as a service model, where usually you will have only one or two carriers, and a customer will not be driving the choice of which carrier to pick from. They will have only one or two, which will be pre-locked in the platform. We see scenarios around connected objects and smart ecosystems to create bite-sized products which integrate with your smartphone sensors, lifestyle sensors, and some telematics ones as well. Those are other examples of where you're part of connected objects, and then those are the drivers for demand. Other ones are the fourth category is a pure insurtech ecosystems, where insurers are buying directly. New digital insurers are going direct to consumers, and they control the full value chain without anybody coming in the middle. So that ecosystem model of a full stack player going all in, all alone, is something which is insurtech driven, but there are very few of them there, because insurance license is much more complex to get versus, let's say, a wallet or a payments license. And the last one is insurance as a service offering. This is a much more Lego modular approach, where insurance carrier provides all of these modules as a service, and rest of the journey and execution is in the hands of the distribution partner who interfaces with the customer. The level to which the insurer's name and brand and is visible is subject to regulations. But the broad part is the insurer focuses on everything which is back office. And if you see, you do not see anything distribution here, for a reason that the distribution and experience is not the insurer's responsibility in this model. The last one we look at is regulations and support for insurance innovation. Regulators like to support insurance because it's a much less penetration. They're keen to see whatever they can to support and bring more penetration of that, because the more the penetration is in the insurance ecosystem, the more stable and resilient the society is towards any challenges. How have regulators reacted to enabled insurance ecosystem? Four main areas. One, by providing financial support to initiatives, incentives, by providing regulatory support, by saying these are the newer experiments, we would like to do them in sandbox so that there is no fear of failure. We'll create a safe place for you to fail and try and experiment new things. Third one is around policy views, like should peer-to-peer insurance be allowed? Should insurance for digital assets be allowed? Should technologies like blockchain be used for claim settlement as an industry utility? That's examples around policy view. The last one is around developing expertise by incubating new technologies, inviting new technologies to showcase their potential and to build the expertise related to that in the overall insurance ecosystem, because we can make the policies, but if there are not enough people who understand them, you cannot implement them without the right talent support around them. One example is Singapore. Singapore has more than 200 million Singapore dollars committed to support the fintech and insurance ecosystem. And more than 40 financial institutions have got grants of more than $1 million to set up innovation labs and capabilities to support. More than 200 startups have got other grants to digitally accelerate their businesses during the COVID period. So from that perspective, capital goes in a lot of way. Singapore also gives $200,000 to $400,000 for proof of concept. And there are more than 500 projects which have been supported through all of these innovation labs, the 40 innovation labs I just talked about. There also Singapore FinTech Festival, which will be held in November this year, like every year, wherein FinTech and InsurTech startups come showcase their solutions. There is a FinTech accelerator, InsurTech problems to be solved, and awards being given for millions of dollars, along with partnerships with the big insurers and banks, which is done every year. There are the one view which most regulators have taken is the materiality and proportionality, where instead of trying to put the same big, heavy regulation on everything, let's look at the context and then allow the regulations to increase as the risk increases instead of one size fits all opportunity. There are also sandboxes in all of the regulators. And the idea is to have as less companies in sandbox as possible, because ideal way you go into a sandbox only when the regulations are not enough, or you're doing something which is not eligible in the current scheme, because when the regulations were written, some of those technologies or needs and use cases did not exist. And of course, there are expertise solutions around financial technology, creating payments, technology infra, those kind of capabilities. And again, capital and regulatory nudge to build those capabilities inside the regulator as well as in the industry. And as we come to the end, OIC has been at the forefront of these innovations by having their own events like this one, hackathons, Panorama. There are dedicated awards from the regulators like OIC and MAS to recognize innovation. And there are decent big infrastructure projects, because regulators have identified that if we just rely on the industry to develop this, it may not get as much speed. And the moment regulator plays active role in developing any of the infra, it expedites the thing and gives the confidence of the industry to jump to the bandwagon and move aggressively fast. There have been a lot of work around the digital service regulations, how servicing and customer support and origination can be done digitally, how digital touch points can be enabled and offered to the customers as customers are becoming digital. And lastly, the sandbox as well. OIC has been very kind to create an insurance-focused sandbox for incumbents as well as insurtech startups to come test and evaluate new ideas to bring the overall industry and society forward with each other. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening to me and spending your time with me.